Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will see various types of entities. So the screen whatever we are seeing, this is the guideware documentation. From here, we will learn about various types of entities. We can see you can define new entity objects with the .eti in the extension. When it comes to the ETI, .eti automatically out of the box will be having already .eti as an extension. But when we are creating any new entity, that will also extends with the .eti. But if we are extending any out of the box entity, right, then it will be .etx. To create any new entity, we need to go configuration, config, extension, and entity. Right click on that and we can create entity. Here we can create a delegate or entity, extension, and non-persistent entity, subtype, view entity, and view entity extension. Once we create, right, we can have various fields to add in that entity like an array, column, foreign key, type keys. So these are the different types of entities which we can create in the guideware system. Delegate, entity, extension, non-persistent, subtype, view entity extension. We might have created in our projects new brand new entities, and extensions we will be used for extending the out of the box entity. And non-persistent entity is the one which will does not store any data in the database. And subtypes like submission entity is a subtype of job, reinstatement, and all the job entities are subtypes. And delegate depends on the project needs, we will create a delegate and we will utilize. Even I have not created view entity and view entity extension. And these are the columns. This usually we will work array relations columns. And when we default properties of a new entity, ID, create time, create user, load command ID, new, public ID, retired value, update time, update user. These are the default values of an any entity. In this section, we will see various types of entity. An entity, we can have a updated entity, retirable entity, updated container, editable entity, updated branch. So what are the different various types of entity we will see now. Let me go to another documentation page where we can see various types of entities. Yes, I already opened in separate tab. I just opened here. So what are the different types of entities? Editable, updated, updated branch, updated container, join array, keyable, non-keyable, and retirable. Okay, we have versionable as well. Usually, we will mostly work with updated and retirable entities, and in bare minimum cases, we will utilize editable also. Updated branch, it's a policy period entity, so we will not create any new updated branch. Even Guideware does not recommend you to create any updated branch type. And updated container, this is nothing but a policy entity. Even Guideware will not allow it, it will not recommend you to create it. It can allow, but it will not recommend to use this updated container type. And join array, this is also the same. Instead of that, it will recommend to use versionable. Keyable also we never utilized keyable entity. Non-keyable, guideware itself telling it is not, do not use. And retirable, usually we will utilize retirable entities outside of guideware systems. Let's suppose you are working on the administration or else utility screen, you want to develop something, you want to display over there, or you have to add some data which is outside of policy graph. In that cases, we will go with the retirable entities, or else you want to load some data in the system table. So that cases also we will utilize retirable entities. We saw system tables creation and utilization in the previous videos. We can refer those videos. And versionable, even we will not utilize versionable except in the rating will use versionable concept where it will try to get the existing cost through this versioning concept only, but usually we will not utilize. When to go f dated then, let's suppose you are adding a new entity that is there with the policy graph. Policy graph, here we can say either it can align with the line, driver, or vehicle. We created a new entity, rate groups. Rate groups is a array relationship to vehicle. So user can change in the slices like policy change 1, policy change 2, policy change 3, where user can change the rate groups. So you have to capture with respect to slices. From submission to policy change slice, what was the value? From policy change 1 to policy change 2, what was the value? Policy change 3 to policy change 4, or else vice versa. So any other, like all the cases, in all slices you want to store the values. In that cases we will go with fdated. Anything which we need to have policy graph relation, right, then go with fdated. No need of any confusion. Fdated entity is an editable entity, so by default it's an editable entity. So fdated entity have effective date fields, meaning start and end dates used to policy center, and fdated entity is a member of effective dated graph rooted and fdated branch. So whenever we create any fdated entity, right, it requires fdated branch entity, which fdated branch it is aligned. So in our case, policy period is an fdated branch entity. All fdated entities are attached to policy period. Let's see what is editable. Editable is a versionable entity, so that will show different versions. So if we take an example of business settings, underwriting rules, as soon as we create, or else as soon as yeah, once we create, that will store an version. Once we edit and do some changes, once you click on update, right, that will create a new version of the entity. So it will not store the existing one, it will update with respect to versions. That is nothing but versionable entity. So editable is also an versionable entity only, but it has some other attributes. We can see create user, create time, update user, and update time. It does not require any fdated branch. Fdated entity requires fdated branch, but it does not require any fdated branch. That means anything you want to show or display on the policy period, but that does not require any policy period. In that cases, we will go with editable and fdated branch. So we guideware does not recommend, and by default fdated branch is nothing but policy period entity. Fdated container is a policy entity. Joiner also guideware recommends do not use this, so we will not utilize. Keyable, keyable and non-keyable also in real type we never utilize. Even I personally I have not utilized. And retirable, so this is common whenever we go with any system tables, or else if you are working outside of guideware entities, sorry, not guideware entities, policy graph, then we will go with the retirable. Even by default retirable is also editable entity only, but it has some extra features like retired field. Even though retired is nothing but if you delete any record from the UI, or else from records from the backend also, after creating a record, it will not delete actually, it will retire in the backend. The record will still exist in the backend, but it will have a retired values other than 0. If retired value is 0 in the database, that is nothing but that record is active. If it is other than 0, then that means it is deleted, someone was deleted that record. So that is nothing but retirable entity feature. Even we can see, for example, if we select retirable instance, a list view, and then click on delete, then policy center preserves the instance in the database. However, policy center insert integer value in the retired column. Any non-zero value in the retired column indicates that instance is retired, that means deleted. When it comes to fdated, it will update the expiration date. It will not have any retired field over there, and remaining things are same: create user, create time, and all the things. And versionable entity is a type of keyable entity. It will create a new versions whenever we update anything. Entities have a version and id. Entities of this detect occurrences updates. So we can take example of uw rule, that is a biz rule. So it's an versionable entity. It is possible to delete entities of this type from database. So these are the various types of entities in the guideware application. Usually we will utilize fdated and retirable only. Apart from the delegates, we will create extensions, non-persistent entity, subtypes also we will create. Non-persistent entity, we can take an example for climb. In risk analysis, we can see the climb page where as soon as you click on search button, you can see all claims. So that report will pull from the climb center and displays on the policy center. And when you navigate to other screen and come back to again risk analysis screen, the details will not present because it's a non-persistent entity. It will not store in the database. Again, when you click on search, again details will be mapped here, but it will not store in the persistent, sorry, database. That is the specialty of non-persistent entity. And view entity extension, I never worked on. I feel view entity is nothing but .en, but I don't know. You can explore by going through this documentation. I'll provide these documentation links in the description section so that you guys can refer it. So that's all about in this video, guys. We will see in the next video with a new concept. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, right, feel free to ask in the comment section.